Alrighty then, we are fixing to make my daddy's spaghetti recipe. Very simple, always delicious, makes a lot of spaghetti, and it freezes extremely well, where I will put it into like Ziploc bags in portions for two, and then I'll put them in my sucky bags so that they don't get freezer burned. So what I've got is 2 pounds of ground chuck. I've got some different, tomato sauces. I'm not using any of my home canned sauces because this is just spaghetti, okay? So I've got 29 ounces of tomato sauce. I've got, 14 ounces of diced in sauce, 14 ounces or 15 ounces more of sauce, and some tomato sauce. And I just use the pre-minced garlic in oil, but I have got 2 full cups of onions and celery. So my little Vidalia chop wizard, I love this thing. It's loud, but it works. So what I have is 5 ribs of celery, fat and long, and then about 3.5, almost 4 large white onions. And what I like about the chopper is they're all an even size that I can't do by hand. We're just making biscotti. And I have saved my discards from the onions and the celery. This was already in my freezer, so that I've always got some vegetables for when I make a stock, whether it's chicken, beef broth, whatever I'm making, whatever type of stock, I've always got a couple freezer bags of this. And in my opinion, it is the skins of the onion that give our home canned stock, our broths, that rich brown color. So here we go. Let's make some spaghetti. My daddy's spaghetti, actually. I'm going to use my large Magnolite stock pot. It is nice and thick, holds the heat very well, and I'm going to saute those vegetables, the celery and the onions, in olive oil. So I'm going to get that started. It ain't hard. It's just cooking biscotti. So we'll start sliding in our celery and onion. And I do have Fred my fan going because it is warm here on the coast of South Carolina and sunny today. And I am fished out. I cannot sweat another day. So I thought perfect day to make a long cook spaghetti. I'm going to get this sauteing. And this pot makes fast work of it. And I won't add my garlic until my onions are done because I don't want them to burn. Then we'll brown our ground beef. It ain't hard. Cooking is not hard, right? Follow a recipe, go step by step, don't burn your vegetables. What is hard or difficult is videoing you while you cook. Like, I don't need this camera to take a dive into this pot or have it fall over into my tomato sauce or anything like that. So it just adds a different element to it when you're trying to make a video. Plus you have your vent hood going. I have Fred going. You don't want any television racket in the background. So cooking ain't hard. Videoing cooking is just difficult. And those who watch my channel know that husband interruptus is real, but brother is taking the siesta. So we're going to choose now to cook, and maybe we won't have the background noise of ice, big feet flopping on the floor, and all the racket husband interruptus does. Sleep on, brother, sleep on. My onions are almost finished, but I choose at this point to add some basil. And I'm going to put some of our own oregano in here as well, that we grew, then dried, dehydrated. Oh, I got a little stick. That ain't good. Pinch it up. And the other main thing I add that my daddy did was a whole lot of chili powder once we get it all put together and let it cook for a while. I do not have my garlic in here. The only thing you can do at this point is you could burn this. And of course, when you add your garlic, and you will always taste burned garlic in the background of a dish. Ain't no way around it. You will taste it. Ooh, now you can smell both the basil and the oregano. And of course I can add more later. Let's get some black pepper in there. And a little bit of kosher salt. I do not like to cook with a whole lot of salt. You can add it at the table. Still ain't hard. I'm just a mouse who cooks, just like you cooking in your own kitchen. Only thing you can do is burn it. So now we're gonna chuck in our little minced garlic and very quickly move that around in these hot onions. Because these onions is hot. This pot is hot all the way up these sides. Ooh, cold dog, I can smell it. If it's easier for you, you can remove the onions and celery and brown your ground beef in the pot. I'm doing it all at the same time. Lord, husband interrupt us. It has arisen early from its nap. Lord help us. Anywho, I do not have to completely brown this ground beef. I just want to get it granular. It ain't hard. I'm just incorporating this into all them onions and celery. I'll be back when something exciting happens. Could be any minute. Stand by. If this were not ground chuck, I would absolutely remove the onion and celery before I put a more greasy ground beef in there, because I would want to drain off a lot of that fat. But this is some very good ground chuck, so I don't have any issue with just throwing it in there after I get the onions and celery translucent and soft. Right, it is good and granular, not completely brown. So now we're gonna toss in our tomato sauces, our paste. Still ain't hard. I rinsed all the cans I used out with water. And so this is 29 ounces of water. If you want to use stock or vegetable stock, you can. This is just spaghetti to me, so I ain't gonna do that. And remember, this is not the time to test it because our ground beef is not cooked. We just got it to where it was granular, and then it'll cook here a few hours. I don't like a thin spaghetti. And we'll see how much water gets released as this cooks. Worst thing could happen is I'll add more. But oh, it's gonna be good. So this will cook. I'll put it up on one of those little heat racks that raises it and cook it on low. First, I'll let it come to a nice boil. Then it'll go to simmer. I've got my lid on cattywampus, and I'm gonna let this start to simmer after it came to a big boil. Stirred it down, and now we're on low. It's gonna be yummy. Alrighty then, it has been simmering for 1 hour, and now I'm gonna add some chili powder to it, which, like my dad did it, I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top, completely covering it. I can taste the basil and the oregano, and the flavor is getting nice. don't teaspoon this. Then we're going to incorporate that, and again, letting it sit here and cook on low. So easy and feed so many economically. And in our case, we'll get some lunch out of this, tonight's evening meal with some crusty bread, and then I'll have probably enough for 3 meals to freeze. You know I like to save $1. Alrighty then, it is ready and it is a beautiful thing. I like to take the shaved Parmesan and put it on our hot spaghetti, our hot pasta, and then put the sauce on top. I just literally shave it off of a triangle with a potato peeler. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. This is one of Vern's favorite things, so we are gonna get to chowing down, and my bread is gonna finish in about 6 minutes in the oven, and all will be well with us. Spaghetti meat sauce, oh yeah.